listen-only mode.
We give time for them to come in first, okay?
Okay.
A very good afternoon. I am Mimi, your moderator for today. Today we have registered participants of over 200. Now this is amazing. This, is really a large number, maybe because now, these days with the COVID-19 and the MCO, many companies are looking into how to improve themselves, in what way they can actually, get their business going and be more relevant. And I'm sure most of them are thinking of automation and Industry 4.0 as a way forward. And so it is very relevant today that the topic of our webinar is the future of automation and Industry 4.0. And we have with us two speakers who are renowned in the field of automation, Mr. Tiong, Hock, and Mr. Yeaw, Hock. Okay, and the two of them will actually guide us or talk to us about automation, how we can go about, for companies, SMEs, or, even large corporation goes into automation, what they need to do, the kind of things that they have to have, the understanding, the mindset and everything. So without much further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Tiong, who is the Managing Director of OMRON, Malaysia Sdn Bhd, okay, to give his presentation. Mr. Tiong, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think let me first of all put on my slide. Can you see my slide now, Miss Mimi?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, I think once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this webinar, and it is definitely my honor to be able to speak on this important topic on the future of automation and Industry 4.0. Of course, I'm representing my organization, OMRON Electronics Sdn Bhd, and I will share our automation solutions for Industry 4. Quickly, I would like to just introduce my company about OMRON Corporation. It's a very old company, founded in 1933, about 87 years ago. And our mission is to improve lives and contribute to a better society. Of course, a lot of our invention actually was towards how to resolve social issue. In fact, maybe a lot of companies, a lot of you may not be aware that OMRON actually resolved many issues through our invention. Like, for example, in 1967, we invented the first unmanned train station in Japan, because actually at that time, prior to this invention, Japan faced a lot of social issue in congestion at the train station. In fact, our founder was approached by the government to actually to come up with a solution to resolve this issue. And through our R&D, a few years of R&D, and then we managed to come up with this unmanned train station together with the ticketing system to solve the issue. Of course, also another great invention that we have done was in 1971, OMRON actually invented the first online automated cash dispenser. And of course, also we are famous for our home blood pressure monitors, because we make the most accurate blood pressure monitors in the world. In fact, by 2009, we have already shipped 100 million of these blood pressure monitors. Of course, recently we have also done some for social, especially in the green technology area, some solar power. We have also developed some very advanced power conditioning module. Just quickly, a lot of people perhaps know OMRON as a healthcare company, but actually healthcare only contribute about 13% of business. In fact, our core business for OMRON is actually in the areas of industrial automation. Industrial automation contribute about 46% of our total business. Our total revenue for the year is 8.37 billion. So quickly, in the areas of industrial automation business, our vision is to bring innovation to manufacturing sites. And I would say that this slide perhaps will explain the future of automation. That's how OMRON view as future automation, because I think future of automation should be flexible and scalable, and that allow manufacturing to be able to produce, cater for very high mix, low volume kind of production. Like for example, if you can see from here, we have mentioned about automation is one of our logo that we use for this area of automation, where it actually encompasses 3 areas of automation. One is called integrated automation. Another area is called intelligent automation and interactive automation. Integrated here, what I mean integrated here is how machine and machine are able to connect together, and of course to be able to do a very high changeability. And the area of intelligent means through the use of AI, of course, intelligent sensor to make machine through self-learning and able to evolve. Of course, the other areas of automation will be in the areas of what we call interactive, where robots and humans can work harmoniously. This is the areas of future automation that we talk about. And perhaps this will give you a picture of the future automation from OMRON's perspective. I think OMRON wants to achieve a future smart factories where we are able to achieve high flexibility and flexible and scalable manufacturing with the use of autonomous robots working harmoniously with humans. I think you can see from this picture that this is basically a mobile robot mounted together with cobots on top, and we are able to work autonomously together with humans side by side. Next, let's talk about the current situations in Malaysian SME. I think the advanced automation that I just shared with you, I think it's too far away from Malaysia, especially the SME. I think for SME, I think the issue that they are facing a lot of time is we have too many of these manual processes that require many foreign workers. And because of this cheap foreign labor that's available, it actually suppresses our productivity. And of course, at the same time, affected our long-term competitiveness of our SME. So because you can see from this picture here, we still have a lot of manual, we are using manual to do visual inspection. We are still having a lot of workers working in rows and rows of assembly lines to do assembly. We still have this, like for example, what I show here in this picture is a noodle cup factory where workers are actually lining up to actually put in all this, beside the noodles, is also to put in the seasoning powders and in a sachet form into this cup before it is being sealed. A lot of manpower are required to do this job. It's all manual. And actually what Malaysian SMEs should do, they should invest in automation to reduce dependence on foreign labor. I think with this COVID-19 that is happening right now, I think it's all the more important now that our SME should really seriously look into automation. Of course, I think only through automation we are able to achieve higher productivity, and of course also to achieve long-term competitiveness. I think this is one example of how machine vision can be used to replace a human vision. Especially from here, you can see that human vision are used to read labels and also to identify products at such a high speed. This is a video that we have captured from one of our customers in a personal care product. This is another video that I'd like to show is how robot is being used to replace human to put in the seasoning sachet into the noodle cup. So what are the key benefits of industrial automation? I would say that broadly speaking, the areas of key benefits will be area of how automation can be used to reduce manpower. Because I think through automation, I think only through automation you are able to avoid having to employ too many of this cheap labor. And of course you will save money and of course save cost from here. And the next thing is, of course, important aspect of automation is to increase throughput. Because as you can see from here, if you're able to use automation, whether to do the robots or you're able to use machine vision, you are able to inspect much quicker. So yeah, that will allow you to increase your throughput. At the same time, you can improve your product quality, because if you are utilizing human being make errors. Human being make errors, of course, that will affect your product that goes to the market. All right. So at the end of the day, I think you will increase productivity through that way. So I think as a whole for SME, I would say that if you are able to look into how you can improve manpower, reduce manpower, or how to use automation to increase throughput as well as to improve your quality, by looking at these three areas, generally speaking, if you're able to receive and achieve an ROI of 3 years, that will be a good investment for you to go ahead with the automation. So for Malaysian SME, I think I would like to again put up this slide that was shared by one of the earlier speakers on lean manufacturing, where we are encouraging our SME here to first, before they jump into automation or Industry 4, to first look at their process, look at into their resources as well, into their manpower, look into their whether are they lean, are they practicing what I call optimization in their processes, whether they have already cut down whatever unnecessary waste in the production. I think before they talk about, because otherwise a lot of automation that you do, it may cost you more than you actually should. So I think once you have done all that for step 1 and step 2, then you can go into automation. Of course, through automation, you can look into, for example, robotics, which I mentioned just now, machine vision, as well as also digitization for Industry 4. Of course, data analytics and AI and all that will be perhaps your future. In your future, once you have collected a lot of data through automation, you can go into analytics. So OMRON has, as a glance, we have a lot of automation solutions catered for Industry 4, centering around IoT, robotics, and AI. And our core technology is in areas of sensing and control plus think. And we have solutions in the areas of IoT and manufacturing digitization, management dashboard, OEE, RFID and traceability, smart camera and vision inspection, collaborative robot, as well as smart robotic pick and place, AI, control data analytics, and predictive maintenance. Of course, I would like to just focus on 2 areas today, just to look at smart camera or machine vision and robotics pick and place. Why machine vision is important at this point in time when we're talking about Industry 4? Because although machine vision has been around for a long time, because I think machine vision has been around at least for 30 years. It has been widely used in a lot of sectors, like for example, especially in the PCB assembly, in back-end process of semicon. In fact, some of our Penang OEM has developed this a very good solution in this area. But of course, through the advancement of this microprocessor as well as sensor technology, right now it is possible to miniaturize a lot of these components and make it more advanced, and you are able to do a lot of things that it is not possible to be done in the past. So why is it critical? Because I think it's actually, machine vision forms a critical part of automation system used in Industry 4. Because if you want to go out achieve, for example, a lot of people are talking about lights out factory. That means, you know, a factory that runs by itself without lights. But still, you have to have machine vision system in place so that you're able to identify what are your defective products, so that you're able to flag out and reject remove some of the defective product from a production line. For example, you need to use robot, or autonomous robot is required in Industry 4. And how would autonomous robots achieve autonomy? I think it's through machine vision. Using machine vision, you are helping robots to achieve more autonomy. And of course, with the high volume of data and images that was developed through the machine vision, that is actually very essential for data analytics. Of course, also when you use the data from the machine vision together with AI, you are able to identify all the manufacturing deficiency that you have and able to find a fast and effective intervention solution. So the key benefits I would like to highlight here is through machine vision is an area of to achieve higher quality products, so that to ensure that you don't have defective products that go into market. You can achieve higher productivity. You can also achieve higher flexibility in your production, and you can of course lower your production cost. you can prevent product recall and of course damage to your brand name, of course reduce scrap rate, and as well as inventory control. To brief, basically I think machine vision can be divided into several groups of machine vision system. I think that at the lower end of machine vision is what we call the smart cameras. A smart camera is a camera that has built in everything into it, what we call the integrated all-in-one camera, where it has got its own lighting, lens, as well as cameras with it, including the electronics communication, all in one, and it's catered for very simple application. Of course, the price is generally lower. You can get one of these for less than 2,000 to 3,000 ringgit. You can do a lot of this function for some small application. Of course, if your application is a little bit more complex, you can go for a little bit more complicated system where you have what we call the vision inspection system, using different camera, different lenses, of course, different lighting, because of maybe the surfaces are different. And of course, it has got its own controller and of course monitors. And of course, on the high-end side, this is what we call an automated optical inspection system, or AOI system, where we already have now a 3D inspection system that traditionally now this is now used mainly in the PCB assembly, to check the solder, how the quality of the soldering. So dedicated, especially for this area of machine vision. Of course, as I mentioned just now, in the back-end system of semicon, some of the OEM do develop some of this machine vision using PC-based as well as of sophisticated algorithm targeting at certain application, which is where they are able to get repeat business. But I would say, by and large, if for most of our SME application, I would say using the smart camera and as well as this vision inspection system, it should be able to suffice most of this application. And the areas of machine vision basically can be widely divided into 4 areas. One is what we call measurement, counting, location, and decoding. Measurement, it can be used to measure things like, for example, a spark plug, a gap or spark plug, a measurement of this, for example, this spana, the actual dimension. It can actually measure visions today, can able to measure down to micron level, to do counting, for example, to check whether any missing products in your products, you to count the number of components used on the PCB board, for example. And of course, also to check the location, to check the position and as well as the orientation, and whether it complies to the tolerance, like for example, these plastic components, how is the tolerance in terms of this dimension. Of course, decoding, it can be used to read coding for barcode, 2D code, as well as OCR. So machine vision, compared to human vision, actually machine vision can work a lot faster, as you can see from the video just I showed to you. Machine vision can read much a few hundred times faster than human, and more consistent. In fact, the result that machine vision can achieve is definitely more consistent, and it actually can read sometimes a lot of time beyond human vision, the area beyond human vision. It's highly repeatable, and more importantly, it can work 24/7. It will not go into fatigue compared to human. Human eye, I think after a few hours, I think they will get tired, and that's where you get, if you rely human actually will make mistake. And of course, they allow some of these what we call escapee that go into the market, and then that's where you get the customer complaint. Of course, definitely more reliable, and of course also because of it's not utilize human, you are able to put in more hazardous environment, even in a very tight constrained environment. You can use machine vision. So next, I would like to talk about robots. I think a lot of people are familiar with industrial robots. Like for example, we have these 6-axis articulated robots. These robots are mainly used are already very mature. For example, welding industry, in welding for automotive industry, for heavy payload. Of course, the other areas of robot, which is what we call the SCARA robot, is a 4-axis robot where you can use it in mainly used in electronic industry, where a more smaller payload, for example. And another areas of robots, another class of robot, what we call the para robots. This is what we have shown you in the video just now. This is used primarily for pick and place, where you wanted to have very high speed application, but of course repeatability is not as good compared to, for example, SCARA robot and articulated robot. The next class of robot is what we call the collaborative robot, and in short, it's called COBOT. And this can cater for 6-axis collaboration configuration. It can achieve high repeatability, but of course, speed-wise, it will not be as fast compared to the para-robots, but it has got a lot of room for improvement. I think these are the areas of robots that you will see exponential growth in the future because of the advancement of vision camera together with this collaborative robot. So I would like to take this opportunity to illustrate a little bit more about this COBOT. So what are the advantages of collaborative robots? Because cobots these days, compared to the industrial robot that I shared to you just now, like for example, the articulated robots, the SCARA robot, usually you actually have to house it in the fencing because it has, it may actually knock into human being and it can be dangerous. Whereas collaborative robot, it has got safety features that actually, even if you touch it, it will stop, and this kind of features. So it has complied to ISO safety standard, and you do not need fencing because that makes it very flexible for collaborative robot to work side by side with human. And it's very easy for programming because you don't need specialized personnel. You can, even you want a technician through just a few hours of training, yet they're able to learn how to program this collaborative robot. And of course, the next thing is also this collaborative robot can be easily to deploy. For example, like what I'd like to share here is you can move this collaborative robot to different location if you want for different application, because because of the built-in vision, it is now possible for this collaborative robot to work according to the job that is being assigned quickly. All right, so I think that is a flexibility that we can do with a collaborative robot. I think the areas of collaborative robot can have widen the application into many areas right now. For example, in pick and place, together vision, we are able to now utilize this collaborative robot to do a lot of pick and place application that you can see. For example, if you are still using human to do this job. For example, if you are doing any parts assembly, for example, to fix different small parts into assembly, most of the time you are using human, then this is the area that you can consider to use collaborative robot to do that. Another area, like for example, to do screwing, using human to do screwing, you are able to now instead using robot to do this auto screwing. Another area that application that we can see is the area of packaging. Of course, a lot of time packaging, we normally use the bigger robots, like for example, heavy stuff, like for example, carton box packaging. But right now today, because if you are talking of packaging into carton boxes, collaborative robot will be a very easy solution for you to deploy. And also the other areas that you can look at is how to attend to machine, tending to machine, like for example, working on workpiece in your CNC machine. For example, another area is like palletizing. For example, if you have small boxes that you want to put into pallet right now, I think you are able to use collaborative robots. Right now, I think they're able to handle up to now 13 kilos of this weight. So this is my almost final slide. I think this is an important slide. I would like to actually tell most of the SME. This is what I call a survey that was done by McKinsey Global Robotics in 2018. They have surveyed 85 companies on the area of robotics and asked them what's the reason, what's the main driver for them to go into robotics and automation. I think most of them gave the reason of cost reduction as the primary reason for them to go into robotics. Of course, the next is improve quality, increase productivity, and of course also to achieve flexibility in production. So I've highlighted these. These are the 4 main drivers of automation by most of these companies. So SME, if you still think that robots is expensive, think twice, because I think robot actually will help you to reduce costs in the future. So perhaps this is another area to share. Where are these robots is going to be automation of robots is going to be deployed? traditionally, robots are used a lot in the automotive industry for welding, spot welding and all that, or painting or vehicles. But this stage, you can see that a lot of investment are actually going into electronics and pharma, all right? Especially in the areas of small and high-speed robots. So the way forward for Malaysian SME, I would say that COVID or no COVID, I think we still have to really look into automation, because I think if you want to sustain your business, you want to achieve competitiveness in your business, you really have to seriously look into automation. Of course, before you go into automation, I would urge you to actually start learning about lean, looking into your talent, and of course, you really have to upskill and reskill your people and try to understand about how to implement automation solution before you actually jump on to automation. Of course, finally, the adoption of automation together with IR4, you need perhaps, besides having your own team, you perhaps also need to have to find a good system integrator who are able to help you to move on to the automation. So my final word is that you should start Industry 4.0 now. Of course, you should do it step by step. Thank you. And of course, if you have any question and you need to reach me, I think you can reach me through my email here. And of course, you can, if you want to learn more about OMRON products, you can go to our website. Thank you. Ms. Mimi, I hand over to you now.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tiong, for a very good presentation. You know, obviously, I think I heard the same thing before, that we have to go step by step. You know, we have to start within first and then move on before we actually go full scale into automation. Okay, without you know, wasting more time, we'll go to the next presenter, which is Mr. Yeaw Hock. He's the Managing Director of Associated First Rubbers in Berhad. Okay, Mr. Yeaw will take us through what is automation, and you know, what can we do to prepare ourselves before we get into automation, and the benefits and advantages of automation. So Mr. Yeaw, please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon to all. I'm Yeaw, or you can call me KK. I am Managing Director of Associated First Rubber Malaysia and Berhad. I also am a Vice President and Chairman of Management Committee of Malaysian Rubber Products Manufacturers Association, MEPN. Here, I would like to introduce a little bit about my company. We are manufacturers all kinds of rubber molded products like O-ring, diaphragm, seal, comet, casket, and custom products. We mainly supply to OEM and IM in domestic and international market. Our company's slogan is quality product with bronze and time deliveries. Okay, today I will talk about the automation. What is automation? Automation or automatic control is the use for various control system to operate the equipment or machine. As you know today, automation are playing very important roles in current manufacturing business. And as you know, Industry 4.0, there are a total of 9 criteria, and automation is one of it. And automation are playing important role in our natural business. If you would like to move over to Industry 4.0, first we must start to set up our production line to semi-automation or fully automation. Since today, I will be talk about automation, and Mr. Tiong already talk more about IR 4.0. I will not touch more about Industry 4.0. Okay, description of the rubber industry. Here I would like to share my experience, how my company from traditional rubber manufacturers move forward to automation. Rubber industry only have 150 years history in the world. And people always say, and comparing the rubber industry is 3T industry. What is 3T means? Dangerous, dirty, and difficulties. Are you agree? Rubber industry, we also call it as a sunset industry because of rubber industry are labor intensive, high operation costs. And in current situation, most rubber parts are replaced by the plastic part because plastic part cost is cheaper. Young generation not interested to join to or take over the business because of 3D. And mainly in current scenario, the biggest challenges of rubber industry is facing labor shortage and supply. Most of the manufacturers need to hire foreign workers to run the production. Then how are we going to solve this problem? Is automation good for the company? Of course, yes, right? Under automation, management staff can monitor real-time production data, rejection rate, CPK, and so on. This real-time data was helpful to top management to planning the business strategy. Automation can reduce the human errors and increase the production volume and productivities to boost up output and efficiency. An organization can perform process with little to no human assistance and reduce dependency on the laborers. Most of the manufacturers are facing shortage of labor. Do automation can help? I would like to share one or two examples how we are moving forward to automation. In the traditional process at rubber industry, always using operator to do manual trimming for the rubber product after molding and using magnifier glasses to do the manual visual inspection and very depending on the laborers. It's very high labor intensive production process. These two process weaknesses are high operation cost, difficult to fulfill customer order and lead time, not ready to accept biggest quantity order because limitation of manpower or human resources. Keep more WIP goods, worried can't deliver the good, follow the customer TI. Over planning and carry more stocks. Higher rejection and quality control are unstable. Very low, very labor intensive, low productivities, long lead time, long working hours, and great a lot of human errors. These two processes has come out about 30% of the total product cost. Now, how to turn up sunset industry to always the last one become sunsets? Of course, automation can be performed sunset industry. How we can do it? Here, I would like to show some picture and video for manual trimming and visual inspection process. Okay, so the trimming is very depending of the labels. Okay, on the left hand side of the bottom photo, show one operator using many fire glasses to do the visual inspection. The rubber products. To the efficiency, I would like to tell you one story. One of my overseas customer visit, when he saw and used the operator doing visual inspection 8 hours a day, first question to me, do you check your operators' eyesight yearly or frequently? Can you confirm their eyesight is good during inspection of the rubber products? The question means, if we did not do the operator eyesight checking yearly, how we can ensure their eyes are good to inspect the products? This is a valid question question, very good question to me, and I also don't know how to answer my customer. After the customer visit, immediately I send all visual inspection operators to optical shop to check their eyes. The result come out, I am very surprising. 40% of them need wear the glasses and spec, and how we can depend to them to take care of our product qualities. From there, I start thinking and planning. Must invest automation, sorting and inspection machine to replace the human and to cut down unnecessary quality issue created by human errors. Here, the picture on top of the left-hand side is the semi-auto trimming process. Operator just collect the rubber products out from the machine and no more hand trimming. This machine I showed you just now is only the third generation auto trimming machine at my factory. From this investment, we cut down about 80% of our manpower at manual trimming department. We place the automation trimming machine at the side of motor press or compression machine, and one operator can run two machines at the same time, do molding and trimming. This is one of our success in automation project, manpower cut. We need to keep improving and do Kaizen day by day. Now, I would like to play a video to show you how automation inspection machine functions. So from the video, you can see how much different from the manual inspection process by operator compared with automation, sorting and inspection by machine. Faster and accuracy, right? Benefit of automation, sorting and inspection at rubber industry. Increase the productivities, reduce the lead time, machine provide data and analysis and interpretation. Can auto packing with counted quantity? Of course, save manpower. Reduce human errors and no more depend of labors. More important is customer delight and customer certification. The products are 100% sorted and inspected by the automation machine. Here is a table to show the difference between manual inspection process and automation inspection process on labor or manpower saving. Manual inspection by one operator only can inspect 57 pieces per minute, and inspection volume 8 hours per day is about 30,000 pieces, and defect rate is 0.11%. Automation sorting and inspection machine can inspect 400 pieces per minute and inspection volume 8 hours per day about 210,000 pieces, and defect rate is 3.5%. Productivity balance between manual and automation is 611%. How big is the difference? You can see that. If you compare running 24 hours per day, the productivity balance is increased to 935%. Performance much better. I think you will be very interesting to know why after automation the defect rate balance have increased to 31%. This figure shows that some products defect human can't detect it, but machine can do. From the result, it shows that customer more confident with the machine is compared with human. Human can generate human error and overlook the defect. So, on top of the manpower saving, with automation, one worker can now produce 576,000 pieces per day. We mean take 18 workers to inspect the same quantity manually. From here, we can see the result and the benefit to invest in automation. This is a second success automation project at my company. Advantage for automation, sorting and inspection at rubber industry. Implement automation can cut down 25% of operation cost. The saving of operation cost is extra profit earning. Reduce manual labor up to 20%. Do this mean we're going to retrain the employee or workers? The answer is no. We can reallocate them to other departments where need their service. Automation can run production with 24 hours a day with minimum manpower. And WRD stock can control less than 1.5 days because real-time production data collection and monitoring by production planner. Same, QA department can monitor real-time rejection data and rejection rate. QA also can immediately find out the defect with the real-time data. So, from that, QA can easy to control or reduce the rejection rate less than 3%. And sales department can ready to accept more orders since capacity are enough. Company can increase the revenue with lower operation cost. Top management easy to access the automated data collection and visualization for accurate production data. Then can make the new business ready. With automation, product cost is be competitive pricing for local and global markets. Of course, better quality products, equally customer certification. Okay, where we begin. Commitment from top management is very important to make sure the project success. And top management must allocate the budget. As you know, without the budget or funding, everything cannot move. To reduce company initial financial pressure, search from government grant or incentive like MIDA, MITI, and MALIS, and others. Management needs to set up one Kaizen team or committee to run and lead the automation project to get a privileged skill and project management training for Kaizen team members. And Kaizen Junior with external support is requested here. Here, I would like to suggest you to talk to SHRDC as they do have a full list of the training programs and training facility to support you. Based on my experience, they are really good in training and support platform for the industry to move forward to automation. Last but not least, quality rubber product developed by innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yeaw. Thank you very much for this, for giving us this insight on what is automation, why it benefits the companies, to go into automation. Now, I think to move into automation, most companies, they are considering the investment, like what you had mentioned, Mr. Tiong. I think foremost in the mind of most, top management is how much do we have to invest in order to automate? And are we ready to automate? Do I have the staff or the technical people, to move forward into automation? So these are the factors that hinders most companies perhaps from moving forward to automation. But with the kind of trend these days where you go for the low volume and high mix, automation would be the key, correct? For them to able to cater for customers' satisfaction. How would you see that, Mr. Tiong?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. My slide, I was trying to say that, because actually in Malaysian, most of our SME production actually catered for small volume, high mix kind of production, because I think those high volume production days are already over, because most of this production now has gone to China, right? Because of China being the factory of the world. I think the only area perhaps exception is maybe rubber glove, because we produce about 60% of world production. Rubber glove, perhaps they can go for high volume production. So because of this, then I think so automation for high mix, low volume actually can be a little bit expensive at times, because if you don't do it carefully, because there's at least a lot of planning. You really need to know your process well. You need to really optimize your process in that sense of you know how to maybe arrange your machinery. Perhaps sometimes your layout is also very important, because you know, to optimize your movement of your people. So all these are all part and parcel of how to cater for this high mix, low volume kind of production. So automation, I would say, I would recommend for small medium industry is to look at what I call the low hanging fruits. That means the areas that where you use the most number of people. Why, if you're still using a lot of manual people, let's say, as I mentioned just now, one example is if you're still using people to do inspection, I think that can be easily replaced by machine vision right now, because machine vision, it's easily, I think you can justify the ROI. I think because machine vision, you can get a system for, let's say, for example, less than sometimes 5,000, 10,000, you can, easily, like, I think you can get a payback within perhaps a year. I think you can get a payback already. I think if you invest in machine vision, that will replace your manual inspection. Of course, if you have a lot of areas that people use to pick a lot of stuff, put into, let's say, different packaging. I think a robot today, I think it's possible to do this now at, and again, as I said, you have to work out your calculation and to see whether you are able to achieve ROI. In fact, I would say, based on my experience these days, with the price of robots actually coming down, so I think it is possible to achieve ROI within 3 years. And of course, with the government assistance, like for example, the government is giving you automation allowance, and you are able to get double tax deduction. So actually in a way, help you to reduce your ROI, your payback time. Okay, I think I hope I can answer that. I have already answered the question on the cost of automation.
I have a question here, either Mr. Yeaw or Mr. from our participant. Now, would you recommend the industry to go into fully automated, kind of situation? Because for most industries, certain steps that are conducted by labor is much more cheaper than trying to maintain the machinery. So, how do you balance that? Because what he's trying to say is that, some stages is much cheaper if the laborers actually conduct, the work. And then, rather than to maintain the machines, which can be a bit more expensive. So how do we do this, Mr. Yeaw? What do you say?
Yeah, even you say that the labor is cheaper, but in current stage, we are facing the labor shortage, and then we cannot be cope for the volume. So we must go to automation, because in the future, right, we need to convince our customer, and this trend must be go for automation, because we not, then our price is not competitive in the future. Right now, we know the China, when they already set up the factory, they already started with the industry 4.0. So their price is more competitive. So from there, if we still SME still depend on the labor, then in the future, definitely our price is not competitive. So we are going to lose our business. So the automation is good for our future business, right? And then the incoming, the labor shortage issue cannot be settled at the moment, right? So the way is that we need to move forward. We don't be fully auto, then at least we need to go semi-auto. This is my opinions. Okay.
So you agree with that? That, you know, because this person is asking, this participant is asking, you know, sometimes to maintain a machine is more expensive, you know, than to have cheap laborers to do the work for you. So what do you think about that statement, that question?
Okay, I think machine, unless you are talking about machine, which is, let's say, for example, you fully import a machine from Germany, and then you need someone from Germany to come and fly a German to come over to service you. Of course, if you buy those very high-end machines, of course, I can understand that, you know. But I think we have a lot of OEM or machine maker, even in Malaysia, able to develop machine, you know, for local, I think SMEs. So once, if you are buying a machine which is, say, for example, made locally, I would say that the cost of maintenance of this machine should not be that high, because you know, you are able to find local engineers who are able to respond to you very quickly. So I do not agree that of course, you know, unless you go and buy those very expensive machines from overseas. Yeah. So just to add on to what Mr. Yeaw said just now, I think I have one of the slides which says that you know, companies invest to reduce costs, because if you are now facing a problem of you're not competitive, then all the more reason you need to invest in automation so that you become competitive. Because you know, it's the chicken and egg situation, right? If you keep complaining, oh, I'm already not making money, and why should I invest? Then you are forever not competitive, because you know, because you are still relying on human cost is a big part of your cost. So you have to reduce your human cost. The only way to reduce human cost is to use automation. So because by investing automation and then you depreciate over time, I think then it becomes, your cost becomes very low, right? Because machine can work, you know, in a 24/7 if you need to. And as long as you have, of course, what you need is to have a little bit of technical people who are able to, you know a little bit of technical to able to maintain it. I think that machine can work for a long time.
So now with the government stand, you know, to actually stress on 6R, you know, in order to revive the economy, one of them is reform. That means you need to make changes in the way how you do business and how you look, you know, into new things now, because now it's a new norm. Okay, so we have a question here that says that if this is the way forward, that means if we are supposed to automate, you know, shouldn't our banks be more friendly for these SMEs to move into automation? Just now you mentioned that there are many grants available, Mr. Yeaw, you know, from MIDA or from MARI. You know, how can these SMEs actually go about, you know, finding what is, you know, available to them so that they can move and reform their businesses into something better? What would be your, you know, advice to these companies?
Yeah, actually they can go to the MIDA or MIDI website, going to search for all the incentives, right? So even the government also do a lot of dialogue to give a lot of incentive in this automation. Like what Mr. Tiong said, one is there is a double deduction. And then some grant we can up to about the double deduction, you can up to 2 million ringgit for SME. So a lot of SME, they don't know how to find the way going to apply this kind of grant or incentive. I will be suggest them they can go through the association, you know, to communicate with the government authority, to having a dialogue. So for them be easy to understand whatever the so-called the government benefit to the industry.
So that means it's good if all these SMEs actually join an association or a federation, so become the bigger voice for them, so they can represent and actually, you know, go into all the various departments of the government departments to find out more about what's available to assist them. That is a positive way forward, for them to be part of an association or federation. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. I mean, one of and another question. Okay, unless we have high volume and low mix, the ROI in 3 years would be very challenging. So what are your comments, Mr. Yeaw, Mr. Tiong?
Okay, I would say, okay, one way to mitigate this, yes, I do agree, because that's why when I talk about ROI, don't just look at the labor as a way to measure your ROI. Because if you just say, okay, I'm putting in automation, I want to cut down.
Oops, we've lost Mr. Tiong there for a while. Mr. Yeaw, you want to continue first?
Yeah, in terms of ROI, actually, if invest in this automation, I can say that ROI can be determined in 3 years, because you can see that just on my table. For the productivities that can be improved about 600%, right? So from there, ensure that we must go for automation, and then the investment cost is not so high, and like Mr. Tiong said, we can get this grant or double tax deduction from the government, right? So actually the investment is not high. So the way is that we must move forward and move further step to automation. Then we can see the result. That's why we show the table is that this is the result. The ROI actually for my machine, I invest in this auto inspection machine. The ROI is 3 years. There can be returns.
Yes, you can reap in the returns, yeah, because you you increase the productivity, so that allows you to actually produce more things and with less errors and less mistakes, right?
Yes,
now,
right.
Okay, another question. Now another question for a young engineer or for an engineer, if they want to move into automation, what will be the new skills that they can acquire or they should acquire before they can, assist the company into automation?
You see,
for example,
for the young engineer, mostly like my company, that I always encourage them go have courses or training to send out them for the training. So from there, from the training, they will be getting more knowledge than the experience to develop the so-called to do the improvement for the process. Like via teamwork, we have a Kaizen teamwork. So from there, day to day, they're going to study what is the weakness point in the production line, and then they're going to improve it. So from there, I always to encourage the young generation, the engineer, to go in, have a courses or training. So from there, they do on-job training. Then we get more knowledge how to go into improvement in the process.
Okay. So there are online courses that they can attend. Even SHRDC also have some courses, or Kismet have some courses where they can attend to improve and acquire the skills, because they already have the basic, right?
Yes, especially in the SHRDC, even they also have a facility. They can do all the training with all the facilities. They can do the model automation to try run. So before they're going to invest or propose to the machine.
We have another question here. Now, what is the ideal size, okay, or number of workers or revenue before you can actually go into automation? Because, for example, if you only have 10 people working in your company, would automation be an option?
You see, from that, because we always depend too much of the labor. Definitely, we can't generate more revenues because of limitation of the resources, right? So the automate that we can improve, we can access more order because we got enough of capacity to run the business or access the order. The other way that the automation also, like just now I'm saying that, if the example in the inspection process, we still reliable to the human, then they generate a lot of human error. Then the rejection is high. So this is all a lot of hidden costs we don't know. And then we come to collect the real-time production data, right? So we even that our stock or WIP we carry very high. So if invest in automation, so we have a real-time data receiving. So from there, management can be do all the adjustment, then see how is the production the real scenario. So from there, easy to monitor and to monitor the production. So we are not overproduce or a lot of the hidden costs, the reject, we don't know, right? When we realize that things happen, sometimes it's too late. By automation, everything is real time. So it's real time, then easy for us to identify the problem. Immediately we can solve the problem.
Okay. So this, so people have to move from the idea of relying on labor, because labor sometimes, yes, it's easy for you to communicate, you know, and tell them what you want, but the errors are also there. They are prone to some mistakes. Like you say, you know, you were surprised to find out 40% of your visual inspectors had eye problem, and that is actually affected or impacted on your products, on your quality of your products. Yeah. So we have to move away from that, and we have to maybe bite the bullet and move on and look into automation, like step by step, not like Mr. Tiong. Like Mr. Tiong says, we don't have to go to the high end, but we need to choose, you know, the OEMs here who can actually, you know, match to the needs of our company. That's the first way of actually going into automation. Is that would be the right way to go it?
Yes. We that's why we need to have to form a one-person team to going to study where is the weakness point at the production. From there, we try to improve it, or we try to semi-automation for the production line to cut down all the losses in the human error or the hidden causes. Yeah, I know. Right. For example, in those days, my company not yet to implement the automation for the inspection. A lot of complaint from customer. Even we do 100% of the inspection, like because of human error or human generated human issue, right? So for the invest in the automation machine, so we can 100% to depending on the machine, because the machine is give us the real data, right? You compare the human, sometimes they were hiding. We don't know, right? So from there I can see the big result I granted, you know, after I automate the process.
Yeah. I see. So okay, but before like you move on to automation, you really need to study your process flow, correct? You need to form like a team to actually study process flow to see which areas you are overloaded with human resources, and you know where there are wastages and all that, because you need to go into lean management and you know lean first before you can actually move on into automation, because there's no point carrying like you know all the excess baggage into a next stop or next process if you don't trim down. So lean management is crucial before you move on to automation, correct? Am I right to say that?
I agree. The lean management is very important. You know that even the lean management training courses is very expensive, but I always to encourage the lean management must be do in-house. So there is on-site training is better because the consultant can be helped to guide our young generation how going to detect the problem, right? So whatever house, for my experience, I will encourage that better we do all the training in-house because we can based on custom based training and to find the low cost. From there, the consultant can be advised. So for young generation, for them to easy to get more knowledge from the consultant on site.
But above all, what is important is the top management must be supportive of this because it's a transition going from, you know, a lot of people to maybe more skilled people, and then, you know, and be more focused to the production, isn't it? Top management must be hands-on to make sure these changes happen. How about in your company? You know, how do you know the top management really think about doing it? You know, deciding that okay, this is what we need to do.
Yeah. So the commitment of the top management is very important. You know, so without the commitment or the top management involved the project, actually the project, I'm saying now cannot be run. They will be running very slow. So however, how the top management must be there.
Why would you run slow? I mean, you buy a machine, you automate. You know, by right, it should be performing in the, you know, in the kind of limits or parameters that it should. So why should it be slow if the top management is not, you know, hands-on or into it? Why would it be slow?
You see, the management commitment work together as a teamwork. So to encourage the young generation or the ground to work together, you know, to fight over to success the project. The commitment from management. So they must work together as a teamwork. You know, this is my experience. I will do it. Yeah.
So you went hands down and you work with all your team in order to get that. Mr. Tiong, you're back?
Yeah, I'm using my handphone right now because I think my internet has got problems, so I'm using my handphone to connect. But I think no video, right?
No video. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Just audio are fine. Yeah. So I think top management commitment is obviously very important because I think because the buy-in, because if you're, I think what SME, a lot of SME make mistake is that they only send their people to attend the courses and then expect the engineer to come and implement all these changes in their own environment. I think it's going to be difficult, especially if they only send one person to attend the training. So I think rightly, I think if you're talking about SME, the business owners themselves should also attend the training, so at least they know the concept. And like especially when you talk about lead, then only then you get a whole team together to think about ways to improve. Because of course, ultimately, the person that know the business or the process best is actually their own people, the business owner themselves, and their people who know the process best. So they would know what area to improve, what area is the wastages. If they once they understand the concept, I think then they can implement it in their own environment. Okay, so I hope
Yeah. I mean, you did, because you know, I just wanted to know why it will be slower if the top management is not part of it. Now I understand, you know, what you're saying. So I hope it also helps the audience, you know, to understand that if they are the owners of SMEs, it's not just about, you know, knowing about it, but they too must be part of it as well to make these changes, you know, more valuable for the company, you know. Okay, I think we've come to, you know, a closing here. We have all the questions been answered, I hope, by, you know, by the two of you. I find it very encouraging and very to understand about automation. Although I think there is still a long way for us, Malaysian companies and SMEs, to go into automation, but we need to start and we need to follow, you know, the country's way of now stressing on the 6R, where reform is one of the, you know, one of the R's. We need to think on how to change and make changes. Yeah. And thank you very much, Mr. Tiong, Mr. Yeaw. I'll pass now this,
Thank you, Mimi.
the floor to Dr. Mazlina. Okay, thank you, Dr. Mazlina, to to give a few words. Dr. Mazlina, good afternoon. No voice. No voice. Dr. Mazlina, no voice.
Okay, hi
Your
everyone.
mic.
Hi.
Okay.
I'm pleased to meet you again. So actually, today is our today is mark on our 5th webinar session with HHRDC, organized by MPC in collaboration with HHRDC. So we hope that the webinar series organized have provided our participants with the relevant knowledge from lean manufacturing, process optimization, OEE, automation, and smart factory to kickstart your journey towards Industry 4.0. So we would like to thank all of you who have attended this program, and then we hope we can continue to stay connected. So if you want to have the videos, a series of our videos, you also can have to go to our provided link here using our MPC channel, or also you can also go to the HHRDC website as well. If you have missed out of some of the webinar sessions, so you can click it right away, so you can obtain all the information in this link. Yeah. So thank you very much, and stay tuned for our more initiative from MPC and as well as HRDC for our next future project. So thank you very much. So now we ended the session with a very thank you to all of you. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Selamat
Thank you.
Raya.
Yeah,
Selamat
thank
Raya.
our speaker, Mr. Tiong,
Thank
and
you,
also
Mr. Yeaw, Mr. Tiong.
Mimi,
Have a
moderator.
good break.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.